Hi guys. So I'm making this video firstly because the title and the idea just randomly popped up in my head. I think it was yesterday or something. And secondly, I kind of enjoy the irony of, making a video where to put it on YouTube where I basically advise you to not listen to too much advice from the internet. So, yeah, the internet is full of videos and also other things like articles and such um, containing bad advice. But I mean, this one hopefully will be one of the exceptions, right? So, um, yeah, I guess most people might already have that figured out. But for me, it kind of felt like a new epiphany or insight that I just had. Because, yeah, if you truly think about it, nowadays, every person that, has internet access and can talk or communicate in any way and, like film themselves or be filmed by someone, can present their ideas and their opinions and their advice in the internet, right? So, no matter how stupid, cruel, or, I don't know what other adjectives there might be to describe people who sometimes or oftentimes give bad advice, you are you can voice your opinion, and you can, if if you kind of get lucky or do it the right way, can, yeah, let the whole world know your opinion and what to do about many things. And so, yeah, I think in some way this video is a continuation of, the video How to Find Happiness that I put out, I think, about a month ago or so. Because, yeah, I don't know, there are many types of advice, I guess, that can still be bad because they might just be wrong, but are generally more harmless, like just advice on practical stuff, like how to perform certain tasks, I don't know, how to paint your walls or whatever, right? But but of course, man, there are so many aspects to this that I don't even really know where to start. Of course, even those types of advice, or maybe especially those types of advice, also, are very, or can be very much influenced by interests of, anyone who makes money. Let's say in this example, of course, any company that sells paint, or that, I don't know, anyone maybe wanting them to hire you as a craftsman for something, might already have an interest in manipulating the advice they give you, right? To have their certain intentions or interests, yeah, preserved, I think is the word I'm looking for. Yeah, but that's not really what I want to talk about here in this video, because what I am much more worried about and what is much more important to me is, all the types of advice that, deal with how to live your life in a, meaningful and in a way way that makes you happy, because that's, I think, the one place where the bad advice can be so destructive and dangerous that it can destroy the lives of people. And the problem is that we all, I guess I can say that, even though I generally I generally hate generalizations, but I guess I can say that we all, or most of us, have a natural tendency to look for advice and or approval. I think it's often like, a mixture of both things we are really looking for. And we assume that when we okay, so also we have to, of course, make a distinguish between when we actively search for an advice, or for example a perspective of someone on a certain topic, or when it kind of gets, how do you say, shoved into our faces, like when YouTube just keeps on recommending you stuff, and you know how the algorithm works, once you click on it you get more and more of it, right? um Anyway, I would generally say there are two types of bad advice, the first type of bad advice is just, advice that is just, I guess, technically, or as far as that's a thing in our reality, society, objectively wrong, right? Or that is just really, really detrimental, or that just doesn't achieve what it's supposed to achieve, that doesn't have the effect it promises to have, basically. And I think the second type of advice is just, can be any kind of advice that might actually be good or be worth looking into and taken to be taken into consideration, but that that you hear at the wrong time, or in a moment where you're really not ready for it, and you cannot fully basically extract the things, or the thing that is valuable from it, the thing you could possibly learn from it, or that could help you. And also it might be the wrong time, and I guess, but that's like a whole nother category, and I'm just gonna mention it real quick. Like it could possibly also just be the wrong person, I guess, because you might hear some solid advice from someone that you just don't have any kind of, that you just don't trust in, or that you have a general disliking of, or whatever, and that will probably make sure that you won't take that advice, right? So what I found out for me personally, and maybe someone can relate, is that most of the time when I see or hear, coaches, teachers, spiritual teachers, or any kind of person that seems to be and or claims to be and or is how do you say, professed to be an expert on any kind of subject or in any kind of field, I tend to assume that they really, that their advice and or their take on it always is, right in some way or better than mine. I tend to assume as they are that as they are the expert, they will know better what is right for me than I do myself, right? And yeah, I just think that's a mistake that I assume other people make as well. I really think that you should really, no matter who it is, always try to listen to the advice without being influenced too much by who this person is, seems to be or is made out to be in some kind of hierarchy or just regardless of their social status, and their uh, yeah, regard regardless of their background in some way, which of course is not completely humanly possible to completely separate the information or advice itself from the person giving it, as I already mentioned before, right? But I think that's something that's one of the things that we have to learn. And another thing is, and I think that's the main point I wanted to make this video all along, but I felt like I had to mention all this other stuff at least once, is we really just have to acknowledge that regarding most things, most areas of life, we can't do better than learning to listen to our own intuition and to connect to our own truths. As cheesy as it sounds, it's the only like it's the best advice there is. um and and you know that if you believe like I do that, as they say, everyone is you pushed out, right? You manifest the other people, the versions of other people that you get to see and hear and talk to. um yeah, if you believe this, then you should also know that even the best advice you ever got, seemingly from somebody else, was in some way something that you, or the greater part of you, let's say, already knew and kind of affirmed to you, or yeah, gave to you through that other person at that moment, right? Good advice oftentimes is just, confirmation of a truth you already knew somewhere, somehow. And I guess bad advice then must be any kind of advice, or, yeah, that just, that you just know is not, doesn't resonate with you, is not in sync with your truths, and yeah, just the way you also know you want to live your life and what you also want to believe in. Because remember this, the world reflects back what you think and believe to be true, both on a conscious as well as a subconscious level. Um, yeah, so I think it's a little bit similar to labels, though that's also another topic that I could probably make one of my next videos about. That you should only accept the advice that leaves you feeling empowered, and yeah, that also, just works for you, right? If you have, maybe, if you're not sure about something that you've been advised and you try it a couple times and it doesn't work for you, yeah, then you know it's not for you, right? So just don't, just don't, you know, actively go searching for things that you already know probably won't work for you, won't resonate with you. Just for example, like I sometimes do, because you feel like you have to respect the expertise of the other person, or that's like one of my beliefs, I guess, also, like that you have to kind of listen to every side long enough so you don't become ignorant. And then you also kind of have to listen to people that you already know, tell you the same things and same arguments over and over again, and you already know you don't agree with them. um yeah. Mm, but let me end this video by also saying that it's a problem, I think, in and of itself, that there's such a thin line in many, videos, for example, between opinions and advice. Like, people have the tendency, of course, to um, turn their opinions and beliefs into universal advice. Like, I live this way and I think it's right and it feels right to me, or something, and therefore everyone else should do the same, or everyone should do these 5 steps or this process or whatever, right? And that's just not necessarily true. And if you take on or take in too much of these kinds of information slash advice, it will only confuse you in the end. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and or subscribe to my channel. And till the next time, bye.